Okay, this is a dark video. It's gonna be a dark video because I decided to do a walk and talk since it's been such a long time. Uh, such a long time since I'd done a walk and talk. I'm so rusty. I have to like fix up my socks and my shoes. All right. But the reason why I decided to do a walking talk is for two reasons. The first one is that because RPGAD number 13 is a great question. It's like it's a question that I wanted to muse on, right? And walking, I realized that I don't have my mojo when I stand still. Honestly, when I do my little capsules to answer the question, I try to keep it short, but it's mainly because I'm sitting still. When I walk and I just do my hobo style vlogging, I have more flow. And like I said, number 13 deserves some flow. So here we go. The question is, how did your gaming evolved? So it's basically asking, since you started, how would you describe or express the changes and the way it progress over time and evolve. So like most of you say, like most of you know, I started RPG in 2011, same time I started vlogging, and something like that, around that time, 11, 12. And then and so at the beginning, my gaming was really structured, analytical, like very structured, very prep heavy, lots of prep, lots of organization. I was creating all kinds of little paper to put everywhere around my GM screens and my stuff, to have the rules ready, to have the plot twist ready, to have the NPCs ready with all their stories and all that stuff, all that jazz. So when I started, it's the control freak approach I was in, and for good reasons, because when you don't know better, and you want to have a rich experience, because you want to make sure you don't forget anything. So it's this is how I started. Also back in the days, I didn't know about story games. I was really more into the traditional games like Pathfinder, Shadowrun, World of Darkness, stuff like that, Traveler, and so these are games, these are engines that don't run narratives, they don't propel narratives. So you have to do a lot of heavy lifting and a lot of prep around that. So I started that way, and so at the table, the vibe was like GM Fiat. When I was GMing, I was making some GM Fiat situation with the dices and everything, just to make sure that I can that I would be able to finish my plot twist on time and shit like that. And there was a lot of frustration from me, from the players. Every game I remember, because it was feeding my vlogging. So every session I had when I started, I had my Shadowrun session every Sunday or every 2 Sundays, something like that. every fucking session there was like issues and problems, and I had some questions, you know, and I was and from there I was just going to the cell phone and walk and talk, you know, just vlog about the questions and ask the community, you know, and ask the community about what you would do and how you would do it. And then I you know, over the time, after a couple of years of playing and vlogging at the same time, I started to develop some knowledge, some skills, and I started to become more conscious about my practice and the way I wanted to, you know, to have fun with this hobby, you know, the experience I wanted to get. And around the same time, I was starting to, you know, get to know the people from the Forge indie community, you know, with Emergent Play and all the indie developers. So the same year, I went to Boston to PAX, and when I came back, I was blown away. And at the same time, also I received a gift from my dear friend Benoit, who introduced me to RPG. He offered me Burning Wheel Gold when it just came out, around the time. So that changed the whole perspective. Bonsoir. Changed the whole perspective, and I got, you know, basically, you know, the way I started, you know, I wanted the rules to get away, because I wanted room for my prep. I wanted room for my NPCs and my story plot and plot twist and narrations and all that. So I saw the rules as the enemy. Some of you, if you can recall, I made all kinds of video about that. I was just pissed and tired. I wanted some rule light. And then that change of paradigm, that paradigm shift, created in me a need for rules, a need for system, a need for playing raw. And so what happened after PAX and after Burning Wheel, and me understanding the distinction between STGs and RPGs, I started to play raw, and I stopped. I stopped prepping, and so I was laughing because this morning I wake up and then I say, what the fuck? It's not about prepping for one session. The question on day 11 was about the character, the wildest character name. But I saw someone switching the questions, and I think Ivan told me that you can have like another question if the question you don't like or something. I don't know. Anyway, I made a mistake, so yeah. So at that time, I stopped prepping, so I had this radical paradigm shift. And so what it created as an experience in my gaming, the progression, the evolution, the new. Now I have way less frustration at the table. When you have a frustration at the table, is about personal and psychology. You know, it's about the, you know, temper. It's not about game. So that's the thing. That's one thing. Less pressure, less problem, and also, you know, when I say no prep, it doesn't mean I don't read the book, right? I prep in the sense I read the book, I get to know the system and the game and understand the whole thing. So I study, so I prep in that sense, but I don't create NPCs and stuff like that. So the thing is that it brought me back to another place. So when I come to the table now, I have the gospel of the book, the gospel of the rules. So you do that. It's not, there's no other way around it. This is the way I play now, and this gives some trust into the game. So when I choose my game now, since I play that way, I choose my game consciously. Like I really study the game before buying it and see if the game will be able to support narrative in the way it's supposed to be, when the way they say they do. At least. So, and then eventually I give it a shot, and then I get to find out what games provide the experience I want, and so now it's more about collaboration. It's more about discussion, social contract. It's more about agency and narrative freedom, because I don't fear no decision. I trust the people I play with. So it managed to just solve a shit ton, a shit load of my questions and my issues I had. And if you notice in my vlogging, it just dropped. It dropped drastically. I started to do more reviews and stuff like that, and way less questions, because almost pretty much all my questions are just I don't have none anymore. I know, right? I know how to do the thing I want to do. So yeah, so this is the way it for me. So this happened in 5 or 6 years. So you can divide it maybe 2 by 4. So the first 2 years I was in vlogging mode, prepping mode, more traditional gaming approach, GM Fiat and all that, and heavy prep and all that. And then I went into my paradigm shift for the last 4 years. And around the table it changed. I would say it's there's a lot of stupid shit that just doesn't show up anymore, like redundancy in narration, or redundancy in dice rolls, or rules application, and all kind of shit like that. So it's way more fluid, way more collaborative, way more dynamic, and I feel like there is a better I'm sorry, it's really dark here. I feel like there is a way better synergy between the storytelling and the game's engine and the design. And that, if you recall one of my first videos for RPG A Day, is really important for me. So, alright, thank you for watching. Talk to you soon.